Welcome to Week in Minutes. Have a nice day. Today is Monday, 15th of September 2025. Starting the newspaper with the world news, including Qatar Prime Minister urges world to reject double standards and punish Israel. New Nepal Prime Minister Sushila Karki vows to follow protesters' demand to end corruption. Palestinians flee Gaza City under Israeli bombardment. Russia flexes military muscle with the hypersonic missiles and bombers during drills. Netanyahu says United States an extraordinary friend during the Rubio visit. In a bragging about having 1.4 billion people but won't buy one bushel of United States corn in Lutnik. Now from the Hindu newspaper, we have a brief like the Prime Minister urges world to reject double standards and punish Israel. Qatar's Prime Minister calls for international accountability on Israel at preparatory ministerial meeting for the emergency Arab Islamic summit aimed at escalating tensions in the region. Qatar's Prime Minister and Minister of the Foreign Affairs Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani attends the preparatory ministerial meeting for the emergency of Arab Islamic Summit in Doha, Qatar on September 14, 2025. Qatar's Prime Minister urged the international community on Sunday, September 14, 2025 to reject the double standards and hold Israel accountable. Speaking on the eve of an emergency summit called in response to an unprecedented Israeli strike on Hamas members in Doha. The deadly attack carried out by one United States ally on the territory of another sparked a wave of criticism, including rebuke from President Donald Trump, who nonetheless dispatched the Secretary of State Marco Rubio to Israel in a show of sport. New Nepal Prime Minister Sushila Karki vows to follow protesters' demand to end corruption. Sushila Karki has been tasked with restoring order and addressing protesters' demand for corruption-free future ahead of the elections in 6 months. Nepal's interim Prime Minister Sushila Karki chairs a meeting with the security force and government officials after taking the charge of the office in Kathmandu, Nepal in September 14, 2025. Nepal's new leader vowed on Sunday, September 14, 2025 to follow the protesters' demand to end corruption as she began work as an interim prime minister after Gen Z youth demonstrations ousted her predecessor. Sushila Karki, the 73-year-old former chief justice, has been tasked with restoring order and addressing protesters' demands for a corruption-free future ahead of elections in 6 months. Palestinians flee Gaza City under Israeli bombardment. Scenes of mass flight from Gaza City came as United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Israel in a show of sport, despite an Israeli strike in Qatar this week. Smoke rises from an Israeli strike as the displaced Palestinians fleeing northern Gaza due to the Israeli military operation moved southward after the Israeli forces ordered residents of Gaza City to evacuate to the south in the central Gaza Strip on September 14, 2025. Palestinian families are streaming out of Gaza City on Sunday, September 14, 2025. Some cramming into pickup trucks, others on foot as Israeli forces pressed their assault on the territory's main urban center. Parents carried their children while the elderly hobbled along, an AFP journalist reported. Now from Hindustan Times newspaper states that Prime Minister Modi to visit Bihar today. Purnia Airport Makhana board on agenda. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Pole-bound Bihar's Purnia district on Monday to address a rally and launch development projects worth Rs 36,000 crore. During the visit, Prime Minister will inaugurate a newly developed airport terminal in the North Bihar district, which would fulfill the region's long-standing demand for the air connectivity. Another key highlight is the scheduled inauguration of the National Makhana Board. The board announced in the Union Budget 2025 will promote production and new technology development, strengthen the post-harvest management, promote value addition and processing, and facilitate market, export and brand development in Makhana, thereby benefiting the Makhana farmers of Bihar and the country. Strong possibility of getting nod for Commonwealth Games in Ahmedabad, Amit Shah. You know, Mr. Amit Shah speaks during the inauguration of Veer Savarkar Sports Complex in Ahmedabad in Sunday. Ahmedabad Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Sunday said that India has recently submitted a bid to host the Commonwealth Games in Ahmedabad, and the country is very likely to get permission in a very short time. We have submitted a bid for hosting the Commonwealth Games, and there is a strong possibility that we will get the permission for the Commonwealth Games to be hosted in Ahmedabad in a very short time, Shah said during the inauguration of the Veer Savarkar Sports Complex in Ahmedabad. He also said that the Indian government is making efforts to host the 2036 Olympic Games in Ahmedabad and revealed that 13 international events will be held in the city till 2036. Now, from economy point of view, government reopens application window for AC's LEDs light under PLI scheme. CBIC clarifies GST levy on post-sale discounts to help the reduce disputes on government table. How to help exports not lose market share due to the 50% US tariff. Hospitals insurers face off GI Council cautions against cashless care disruption. United States seek G7 action against the Russian oil buyers to force an end to Ukraine war. Now from Science and Tech we have white coats walk out in protest. Chhattisgarh's health workers are on strike. For nearly a month, Chhattisgarh health workers have been on strike demanding permanent employment and better working conditions that burden the already strained healthcare system in the state. And Arogya Mandir in Raipur, Chhattisgarh stands closed due to the strike. Rahul Chakravarti, the pharmacist and a permanent employee at a primary health center PSC in Riasili, a village of Chhattisgarh, Ghariabad, and Gariband district close to the Odisha border. However, the current circumstances have forced him to go beyond the scope of his duty. He is not just dispensing medicines, he is also prescribing them in some cases. Chakravarti says he is forced to do so because of the stop of crunch caused by a statewide strike of over 14,000 contractual National Health Mission workers. One in every three healthcare workers, from doctors and nurses to pathologists and auxiliary nurse midwives, is not reporting for duty. The strike over the 10 demands, key among them being permanent employment, better pay and good working conditions, has entered its 44th day, impacting healthcare facilities at every level, from the district hospital to Arogya Mandir's health and wellness centers. Parliamentary panel suggests licensing requirements for artificial intelligence content creators. Parliamentary Standing Committee on Communications and Information Technology also recommends mandatory labeling of AI-generated content and stronger measures against the deepfakers. The Parliament Standing Committee on Communications and Information Technology has asked the government to devise legal and technological measures to identify and prosecute individuals and organizations dismantling such content. Parliamentary committee has recommended that the government explore the feasibility of licensing requirements for artificial intelligence content creators, AI content creators, and make labeling of AI-generated videos and content mandatory as part of the efforts to combat the spread of fake news. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Communications and Information Technology, chaired by Party and the Party MP Nishadkant Dubey, also asked the government to devise legal and technological measures to identify and prosecute individuals and organizations disseminating such content. Great Nicobar project being bulldozed despite challenges to clearances in courts in Jairam Ramesh. Congress General Secretary Communications Jairam Ramesh says, notwithstanding the blatant violations of the Forest Rights Act, the Modi government has been bulldozing through this ecological disaster of a project. Reiterating concerns about the Great Nicobar Island Development Project, Congress General Secretary Jairam Ramesh on Sunday said that the mega infrastructure project was an ecological disaster. And despite the environmental clearances being challenged in the courts, the Narendra Modi government has continued to bulldoze through the project. He pointed out that the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Integrated Development Corporation recently invited expressions of interest for enumeration, felling, logging, and transportation of trees and marking on the ground areas under the project. Small farms are more productive than large farms. Fine study of IIT Bombay and the University of Hyderabad reveals the productivity in India's semi-arid tropics depends on access to inputs and markets. The finding proved that the farmer-size productivity relationship is complex, context-dependent, and much weaker than previously thought. Researchers at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, IIT Bombay, and the University of Hyderabad conducted a study and found that the productivity in India's semi-arid tropics depends less on the farm size and more on access to inputs, credit, and markets. The study involving analyzing data from 1975 to 2014 and examining a change through the three waves or over 40 years. At last, there's a famous personality all over the world who is known by his famous name Jalaluddin Muhammad Rumi, or simply Rumi, born on 30th of September 1207 up to 17 December 1273, was a 13th century poet, Hanafi, a fiqh jurist, Maturidi theologian, Mutakallim, and Sufi mystic born during the Khwarazmiya Empire. Rumi's works are written in the mother tongue Persian. He occasionally uses the Arabic language and single Turkish and Greek words in his verse. His Mathnavi, composed in Konya, is considered one of the greatest poems of the Persian language. Rumi's influence has transcended national borders and ethnic divisions. Iranians, Afghans, Tajiks, Turks, Kurds, Greeks, Central Asian Muslims, as well as the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent, have greatly appreciated his spiritual legacy for the past 7 centuries. His poetry influenced not only the Persian literature but also the literature traditions of the Ottoman Turkish, Chagatai, Pashto, Kurdish, Urdu, and Bengali languages. Rumi works are widely created today in their original language across the Greater Iran and the Persian-speaking world. His poems have subsequently been translated into many of the world's languages and transposed into the various formats. Rumi has been described as the most popular poet. He is very popular in Turkey, Azerbaijan, and South Asia, and has become the best-selling poet in the United States. Rumi says a very famous quotation. He says that you are not just a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. He also says that yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Okay? Thank you.